plenty of time to regroup as he pushes them straight into the trains. A little bit of style right there. They have their Lucio back to provide the speed boost.
Yeah.
Has been nerfed a little bit, so slightly less speedy than it used to be, but still plenty of time to get Choi Hyobin back in time for this next fight.
It's still pretty much one of the best abilities in the game, for sure. Super a little bit low. San Francisco Shock building up that control percent here at the Busan train station. And we'll see what Charge has in mind. We're looking for that coordination. That's what they seem to really lack against Paris.
I mean, their backline's taking so much poke damage right now from the Shock.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did see that kill on Shu earlier with that Fire Strike. That's what happens when your backline takes damage, and that's what happens when your whole team takes damage. Grab gets used, and Shock absolutely wrecked the Charge.
As they clean up this fight, though, let's talk a little bit about the San Francisco Shock because, you know, they've taken 3 losses already. 2 of those were to the Titans and the NYXL last stage, which could have been expected, and they did have some issues. But one thing about the Shock is, you know, for a while now, ever since about halfway through last stage, they have been cleaning up teams lower than them on the rankings, like absolutely destroying them, not even close.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening so far in this fight. Guangzhou used Happy's Graviton, so they're not going to have that tool available to them. Meanwhile, San Francisco Shock extremely efficient with the ults on that last push. And
well, yeah, all they needed was Super's Earth Shatter, and that kind of set that last one up. Charge coming in with not too much to use. They're going to have a couple support ultimates, though, which is going to be useful here. If they're going to flip the point, this has to be the moment, but Shock is well prepared.
They're going to play on the low ground for the time being. Shock may rotate around up the high ground. No, they're just going to dump the grab immediately.
Why not, man? They're going to send in Choi Hyobin with the self-destruct as well. Rio taken out via the Charge. And it's going to be really tough for the Charge to get anything done at this point forward.
I mean, Super has another Shatter, and there's no barrier because the Reinhardt is dead. Yep. Here we go.
That's about it, man. It's just cleanup. Like you said, San Francisco Shock not giving any quarter at all to teams weaker than them in the league, which seems like pretty much everybody at this point. Rio goes in with a late Earth Shatter, drops down Choi Hyobin, but not going to get anything done on his own, and that's going to be the end of the round. San Francisco Shock looking about as dominant as you can.
Wow.
Busan so far.
I mean, that's just a stomp. What do you say about that?
Yeah.
Shock completely controlling that point from start to finish, staggering the Charge, beating out ultimates, having a better ult economy, and just a brutal showing from San Francisco and Guangzhou, who is now only, what, 1 of 11 in their last 12 maps in their last 3 matches, looking to make it 1-12 to start off this series. They can't take this point.
I don't think they're looking to make it 1-12. They might be headed there anyway.
They're on a fast track. They're on the train to 1-12. They can't control the direction.
They certainly are. They left the train station. They're trying to avoid that. We're going to Mecha Base now, Monty, and we'll see if Shock can close out this map in a hurry. It's kind of looking that way. Guangzhou Charge switching things up. They've got Rio on the Wrecking Ball now. Shu swapping to the Ana, so we'll see what they've got in mind, but Sinatra on that Sombra is going to be a really big problem.
Yeah, they have switched over to the Moira as well, anticipating a multi-DPS composition from the Guangzhou Charge to provide a little bit of extra healing, as well as the elusive nature of the Moira with the Fade.
Yeah. Sinatra just looking for a few hacks when he can. Ooh, Happy taken out by Violet's Orb. Whoa, that does not happen very often.
You certainly don't expect that one. Now the Shock just going to go ahead, try and clean up some of these low HP targets right now while they go ahead and take the point.
I mean, without the Widowmaker putting pressure on your team, you're kind of free and clear to just charge here, and the Charge are just so split up. You just can't seem to get these guys together for a coordinated attack this stage.
I mean, Rio is trying to put pressure on the point with the Hammond, but he's just chunked out and he can't really get there right now. Finally, they're going to make their way onto the stage, but
their
supports are not there. Their supports are getting manhandled by Super.
Oh, man, I just totally zoned out. Happy does get a kill onto Rascal, so if they want, they do have a push coming in 6v5 if they can continue. But no, Shu goes down again. Violet just controlling so much space with that Moira, and that's going to be a problem to deal with. He's got the Coalescence now, gaining back a little bit of health. Eileen gets zapped there. And Charge just not getting anywhere near this one. They're getting closer to taking the point, but still no percentage at all on this map yet.
I mean, the Charge are just trapped in this little room right now.
Yeah.
Unable to get out, unable to get in line of sight to provide a lot of healing. I mean, Shock is really focusing Shu right now and making sure that he can't have an effect on this map. Hotba now switching over to the Zarya.
EMP from Sinatra hits a few people, 4 members of the Charge. They take out Rio immediately. And there's not too much more that Guangzhou can do to prevent that fight from not quite going their way. And it just seems like there's so much desperation in the Charge right now. They've never really pulled back and regrouped at all. It's just been push after push after push. At some point, you need to take a moment, take a breath, and kind of do a little bit of planning here.
Yeah, Viol2t now switching over to the Zenyatta so he can provide the Discord Orb to burn down the tanks, because we do see the Charge slowly swapping over to a more tank-heavy composition.
Shoe hacked again. No biotic grenades going to be coming out anytime soon.
I mean, they have an EMP right now, but Eileen can't get into the fight because he's getting zoned out by spam from Viol2t.
He's on the point now. Maybe he can get back for a good EMP. He's going to try it. Yeah, hits a few members of the Shock. This might be a chance here for the Charge. 2 kills already coming in. San Francisco not able to do a whole lot in this one. So finally, the EMP comes through for Charge, and it looks like it's going to deliver them the point, but we're already 99% for Shock. Guangzhou needs to hold this for so long.
And also, Hotba needs to not get hit by the EMP that Sinatra's going to have very shortly. He's got to do something with the Graviton Surge, so him getting his abilities disabled by a hack is going to be disastrous, considering Guangzhou must use that ability effectively if they are going to hold on to this point.
Super switching over to the Winston now. Oh man, Sinatra's already scoping things out. That's a big EMP from Sinatra. Where's the follow-up from the Shock, though?
Hoppa got the Graviton off.
Yeah, that's right. Graviton did happen, so Charge didn't lose anyone immediately. Now the fight becomes a bit more protracted. So Sinatra not quite setting up the EMP that his team could use.
And they need a spam for support ults right now. That's what Shock are waiting for before they engage.
All right, Rio goes for a shatter. Doesn't get anybody with that one. Wall's coming up and helping out a little bit there. Viol2t with the Transcendence, trying to keep his team alive. They do get the kill onto Shu. Super finishes one off there. Rio did get stunned there for a second. Eileen comes in to try to save the day with the EMP, and Charge striking back with a few kills of their own. Choyobin does go down. And Super stunned. He's got his ultimate, but he can't use it. Taken out before he can pop the Primal Rage, and Charge has managed to hold on.
With that EMP coming up at just the right time, as well as another Graviton Surge for Hotba. So they're able to hold it off for the time being, and now San Francisco Shock in a bit of trouble as they have to retreat. Sinatra nearly at his EMP, however. Guangzhou have no ultimates available to them. They've got to split up to make sure this EMP isn't successful.
I mean, credit to the Charge here, using their grav a while ago to make sure that EMP from Sinatra was a little bit less useful. They've held on long enough to get up to near 90% themselves. Sinatra used his EMP, hacked 3 members of the Charge. Choyobin does get the kill into Happy, though, so Shock not really phased by this one yet. Super, meanwhile, helping Choyobin zone more members of the Charge out, and now the flip is going to come back in for the San Francisco Shock. And as we're in overtime, Charge is going to have to fight this one really short-handed. Eileen coming up pretty close to the EMP. If he can build it, maybe they got a chance, but no. Shoot down already. Viol2t jetting in with the Transcendence to try to keep everybody alive, and Shock just keeping everyone off the point. Maybe with the Sound Barrier now, Charge can come back in. There's the EMP. Rio drops a Shatter, drops Moth and Rascal. Can they get the kills, though? They've got the grab. They've got Super as well. Charge making a fight out of this. Shock having to scramble to try to stay in this one, on the verge of winning this map. They did flip the point back, but can they win the fight? Oh, that was so close. Charge trying to get people on there, but it looks like Shock will take it in the end. Got a little bit dicey towards the end of that round, but Shock will take the first map.
I mean, Guangzhou Charge did a great job of at least holding on to that point as long as they could. Hotba building up the Gravitons quickly in order to shut down some of the San Francisco Shock's plays. Maybe they stayed on the Sombra a little bit too long there for Sinatra. In the end, though, Shock come out on top.
And they get the win. We'll see if Charge can tie it up when we come back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Charge can give him right now, and that should be out it. Rio trying to come in on this Wrecking Ball. Just to delay a little bit longer here. Amplification Matrix comes out for Rascal as well. And nobody gets back to the point. So that's where the attacks will end for the Charge. No progress, I believe, on point B. I don't think they got the first tick.
They did not. And taking a look at the 3 minutes and 24 seconds remaining for the Shock, they get through point A, they at least secure themselves a draw.
Yep.
If they can take 1/3 of point B, they will get a win here on Temple of Anubis.
Sure. Well, they still need to take point A, I suppose. But if they take point A, then even if they don't take B, they'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll see what the Shock want to do for this attack. They did run the Reinhardt 3-3 on their first one and try and create that aggressive snowball into B, and it looks like that's what they're going to be doing one more time. Guangzhou.
Seems pretty reasonable.
It's a little bit harder on the defense because if you try and play the Ryan 3-3 on the defense like the Shock did, especially if you do it without a Baptiste, so San Francisco was playing the Baptiste, but if you do it without that Baptiste, it means that you don't have a lot to deal with a triple DPS. If you have to play against snipers or Afara from long range, it can cause you a lot of problems if you're playing Ryan because you just have no verticality, of no range to reliably take out those heroes.
Right.
So you need the Winston just to provide the mobility to get into the back lines or get into the air to zone out some of those damage dealers.
Here we go. San Francisco Shock going to win here, trying to get the 2-0 lead in this series over the Charge. Guangzhou, though, has shown a bit of life in this series, certainly. We'll see how long they can defend. A lot of damage on the Shock as they come through here. Wow, Charge getting very aggressive right off the bat. Trying to just put some early damage on Shock as they approach the point, but now it's going to be Happy going down immediately, just not ready for the level of aggression coming out from San Francisco now.
And right now, Charge is going to take them so much to retake the point. They simply don't have the damage to retake, and they're playing with a Winston, so they don't have the barrier to survive on the point.
We saw the stats from last stage, right? If your Zarya dies first, it's really unlikely that you're going to be able to win the ensuing team fight, because like you mentioned, the Zarya is doing most of the damage, and that's going to be a quick point A for Shock.
Yeah, Char are going to switch over to the Baptiste. They need that immortality field because Rascal's coming up on the Amp Matrix. That's going to supercharge Sinatra to get his ult faster. He's already at double the charge of Happy.
That's the plan. We'll see what they use. There it is. Amp Matrix down for Shock already. Sinatra, as you can see, trying to fire through it to get that extra damage. Already nearly finishing the map are the Shock. They're so close to just getting that one tick. There goes the immortality field. Now Transcendence used by Charge to try to stay in it. Super turning around, gets a decent Earth Shatter. Shu knocked down. They just need to force the Charge off the point for just a little bit.
Sinatra has grab.
That's right, and he's going to use it, catching a lot of members in Charge, and that means they can't get to the point. Shock takes it, they get that first tick, and they get the 2-0 lead in the series.
Sinatra still at 1 death.
That's insane.
Coming into this half.
That is a crazy stat for Sinatra, but
he's well on his way to breaking that death record.
I mean, it's becoming run-of-the-mill for this guy, right? You know, what amazing stuff is he going to show us today? We'll see when we come back from halftime, guys. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
The Shock are trying to close out the week atop the Stage 2 standings, and they're off to a pretty good start. Currently, they have a 2-0 lead over the Charge coming into the half. Blizzard Arena, it's Sunday morning. How you guys doing? We awake? All right, we're waking up. That's what I like to hear. The San Francisco Shock have absolutely been on fire, and it's not just Sinatra who only had one death in the first half. If we look back at the first map, our eyes are on the main tank. Bren, why do you want to watch Super today?
Yeah, because he's just a bit of a Chad, isn't he? You know, when
Chad's
it
a good
comes to
thing.
Super, it is a good thing.
Yeah.
He's just leading the team in a lot of these charges. I mean, look at this as well. Super's really impressed me coming into this season with his just game sense and his ability to be able to recognize when he should be doing certain actions, like using the ultimates, like dividing the supports. As you can see here, he was so good at this in map 1, diving into the back line, abusing what Guangzhou Charge's composition is bad at, just completely splitting them up. You cut away the healing, they're all going to die.
We were talking about Shu, the healer for the Charge. That's going to be one of their strengths. Shut down when you got a monkey in your face the whole game.
It's not a great feeling on the Ana to get dive constantly, but that's on the rest of the team. The team has to peel, come back for you, and try to keep you alive. You can only hit so many sleep darts.
Now, something that we were excited to see from the Shock was they played incredible 3-3 against the Titans to close out Stage 1. But here in Stage 2, they're running some Sombra, and if you remembered back to last season, Dante was always on the Sombra. Now it's Sinatra's turn going up against Eileen.
I really had questions about if they'd be able to run an effective Sombra, because Dante was their ace, of course, traded away to Houston now, but Sinatra just picks up right where he left off. And Sinatra's always going to be able to transition to Sombra, mostly based on the damage he can do.
Yeah.
A former Tracer ace, if you only know him from this stage, or Stage 1 rather, you've probably seen him on Zarya, but his aim and tracking has been impeccable since the guy picked up a mouse.
Yeah, and he's a player who's really impressed me as we've progressed throughout the seasons of the Overwatch League in the back. He's actually gotten a lot smarter, I think, as well in terms of his play style. The coaching system that Shock have set up has been very helpful towards him. He's an intelligent player now. You know, he's one of the better ones that we've got in the league, and it makes sense to be able to transition over to the Sombra so easily.
A few highlights there were from Eileen on Sombra, but if you look at the numbers, they're definitely in favor of Sinatra. 10 EMPs, 10 enemies hacked, and of course around 5,000 damage to go along with those 0 deaths. 0 deaths throughout that control.
It's a great example of your point of being a smarter player now. It used to be untempered aggression, and that's just how Sinatra played. He's going to get 6 kills on Tracer, he's going to die 3 times, but that's just the trade-off. Now you get those kills and you don't get the deaths.
All right, now we got to take a look at Anubis here, and our eyes were on the new healer in the game. If you're just joining us for the first time in Stage 2, we've got a new character. Batiste is in, and he's a great healer, especially when in the hands of a guy like Rascal. Rascal came into the day with the best of all the players' stats on Batiste. Hasn't been incredible, I'd say, on Anubis. Not the same level in his first match, but he's still playing very solid.
It's just another thing you have to deal with. It's a new hero. You're not exactly sure exactly what he's going to bring to the table, where he's going to set up. He's got the vertical mobility to get to these hot spots on Anubis. Yeah. And he's able to, Rascal, a former DPS player, he hits shots. He's putting out a lot of damage along with the healing.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, we hit on this point as well in our Watch Point pre-show, but Rascal is very good at finding new heroes and kind of just exploiting them to the max and finding out in what scenarios they're good at. Monty and Doa in the cast earlier, they said, you know, when they were casting Rascal back in the day, he did the exact same thing with Sombra, and he's doing it again today with Baptiste. So I think it's very nice to see. You know, he's kind of a bit of a trendsetter in that regard with the Baptiste. It is a joy to watch.
And if you're in my plat games later on tonight, look at his positioning on Anubis. He went up top, and he hid behind a pole, so they couldn't shoot him real easy with the big heavy tanks. Heads up. All right, final question here is about the Charge, right? We've been hyping up this Shock squad, but the Charge, they're trying to climb back up into the standings. Looking at the remaining maps here in the second half, how do they do it going up against the runners-up from Stage 1?
Well, they also have to play Shock again. This is their very next game.
Good point.
We have a rematch next week, so if they don't start getting something going, they're going to be in trouble. Eichenwald and Junkertown next are very good Widowmaker maps, and I've been pumping up Happy for a while. Charging to rely on their hard carries, which are Shu and Happy. They need to have big games.
So I will say this as well. Shock have been playing very well, which isn't going to help Charge much when it comes to making them look good. But if they manage to take Eichenwald here, Junkertown produces some weird results.
Yes.
And it can go either way. So there is very much a potential for map 5 if they manage to take Eichenwald away, especially as you mentioned, Happy on the Widowmaker. If they get him on that roll, there's no guarantee. I genuinely think there's a high possibility that we will be going to a map 5.
Final question for you. How do we keep the supports alive for the Charge? How do you keep Super and Sinatra out of your face?
It's going to be Kib just babysitting. You just got to sit back there on the Brigida.
All right, Brigida. It's up to you, Kib. We'll see if they can get it done. Make some noise, Blizzard Arena. We're coming back with Game 3 after this.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League, guys. Right now, the San Francisco Shock up 2-0 over the Guangzhou Charge. And, you know, the Charge, I think, playing definitely better than we saw them play against Paris earlier in the week. But now you're playing against the Shock. And, like, you need to not just play a little bit better than your 0-4 loss. You need to be incredibly good to have a chance.
And to be fair with the Shock, the teams that pushed them the distance last stage were other elite teams in the top three like NYXL and Vancouver Titans. And the way the Shock lost was by being pushed to the limit, pushed into overtime scenarios, and then they sort of choked and lost, except in the finals where they kept it close throughout the entire series versus the Titans. So they sort of gotten over that as well. It was never like, if you couldn't push them into overtime, you weren't going to beat the Shock last stage, and you're certainly not going to beat them now.
It's hard to put that pressure on a team like the Shock in a regular format series. Meanwhile, Eileen subbing back in for Kib on the Guangzhou Charge side of things. It's usually what they do. They usually go back and forth with these guys pretty much every map.
I mean, I do wonder if it's a little bit too telegraphed, even though we saw Kib playing a good Sombra in the last map. You know what you're going to get with Eileen. You know it's going to be a lot of DPS and Sombra play. I'm glad to see at least Kib trying to expand that hero pool. Of course, he's known as a projectile DPS player on his Genji, but it's cool to see him start playing the Sombra as well.
Right. That's one of the things with making those roster swaps between maps is that, you know, if your players aren't the most flexible, you're kind of telegraphing what your strategy is going to be sometimes. So you gotta watch out for that.
I think of the telegraphing of strategies, it will be Eileen back on the Sombra here. Hotba running the Pharah, so the 3 damage dealers with a single tank for Rio on the Wrecking Ball. Meanwhile, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Super on the Reinhardt.
Yep, here we go.
With the 3-3 with the Baptiste instead of the Brigitte. Now, they are going to switch it up. So Violet will be running the Moira. Rascal's going to switch over right now to...
They're going to swap a lot, actually. Okay.
They need to switch probably to...
Moth.
Wow, nice shot.
That Moth gets taken out as they go back to swap. That's going to take time, too.
So they are going to switch to Winston and Moira. Now,
right.
why Moth was going back is a question there, probably just to heal up and escape some of the rocket damage.
And maybe give his team a little bit of speed boost as they come back out, too. But either way, Hotba finding a nice early kill there.
Okay, so Sinatra's on a long flank right now, is rejoining his team in a pincer, trying to take out the other Sombra. Nice biotic grenade onto 3 members of the Shock. Couldn't quite get a kill, though, on the side of the
He's
charge.
got the barrage, and he's going to unload it all over the Shock. Super and Viol2t down already. Man, you don't expect a Var to have the barrage that fast.
You certainly don't expect the Var to have the barrage that quickly, but that's a result of Hotba landing those rockets while the Shock was milling around outside of their spawn and changing up their composition. So pretty much a lot of time taken off the clock because they had to wait, but now they have to come back and try and contest this point. Only 4 members of the Shock, 5 now with Sinatra there currently.
This is a Shock, man. They're so scrappy even if they start to lose a fight early. That said, though, Super down now. And Hotba back into the fray. Shu gets taken out, but it's still looking okay for Charge. The thing is that the respawns are a lot quicker for the attackers right now.
I mean, that's smart by the San Francisco Shock. Take them out because you have a respawn advantage, so make those trades while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. A one-for-one trade definitely favors the attackers on this point on Eichenwald.
Now, Eileen dies with the EMP, too, and now that Sinatra has the EMP, easy take there for the San Francisco Shock. Did take them a while, do some fumbling around with compositions, and of course, Hotba's good Pharah play at the start, but they do get rolling.
They do. Charge has a few ultimates left to try to fight on B with.
No, they still have an EMP. This
early
is,
on.
Yeah, certainly a winnable first fight here on B for the Charge, depending on their usage. There's a sleep dart right now onto Super, not going to die, though. Nice biotic grenade, though, and that means Violet's taken out and his Rascal. Shu, big biotic grenade so far in this map.
I mean, we've seen this guy be one of the best Anas in the league over and over again in stage number 1, and now that the meta kind of favors that a little bit more, I'm sure we're going to see a lot.
Wow, there's been a lot of just weird delays for the Shock so far on these attacks because of plays from Shu or from Hotba. So nice individual skill getting the Guangzhou Charge, a lot of value. They have 5 ultimates right now. Ready for use. EMP into Minefield, probably going to come out.
Mana boost, perhaps. Not used yet by Shu. Super down early. They can probably save a few more ultimates with that main tank out of the way. It's going to be the rally, though, from Rascal. Actually, Shock pushing forward to the sound barrier as well. They're not going to give up on this one. They're going to jump onto Shu and get that kill anyway. You just cannot assume a fight is over with the Shock, man. They lose their main tank, and then they're just going to come right back. Looks like Rascal's going to pay for it in the end, but while all this is going on, the payload is still moving, by the way, and that's the important thing.
I mean, Cinderella can leave her Shu, and it turns out for the best in the end, but you can't do that if you're the Guangzhou Charge.
No, you got to keep
You leave your
Shu,
Shu, and then you don't have any healing any longer.
Right.
The Shock capitalizing on that opportunity, and now they're going to be really guarding these spawn doors.
Indeed. Nice biotic grenade again onto Super and Choyobin. Viol2t down. Here's the EMP onto Charge. Can Shock complete point B here? They've got Hotba so far. I believe Choyobin just got demeched. Minefield down for Rio to try to prevent Shock from getting out of the payload here. Rascal taken out as well. So it looks like that'll be Charge halting things right before the end of B. For the moment, anyway.
Yeah, get an exit kill onto Chara, but Chara will get there back in plenty of time, so not the most consequential elimination for the San Francisco Shock. Now they're in a bit of trouble. Ult economy's been reset. They did struggle in these scenarios on Busan when Sinatra kept on playing the Sombra here, and this would be an opportunity to switch over to the Zarya, but they are not going to do it yet.
Not yet. Really preferring Sinatra to stay on that Sombra for now. Here we go. Eileen on his Sombra setting up a really nice EMP, it looks like. Who have to watch out for those left clicks from Brigitte, but he's going to get the hack. And then Choyobin not going to be able to remech after the ultimate. Gets hot by anyway. Oh, no, they catch Eileen.
Oh,
the plan
Eileen
was
can't die there.
No, you can't. He dies with his EMP up. Tried to go for a fancy move onto Choyobin and ended up delivering San Francisco Shock the point.
Oh, that's bad.
Whoops.
It looked like there might have been a miscommunication there about whether they were winning or not, because he might have just tried to make the kill and save his EMP, but the rest of the team was losing even after the early elim on the side of the Charge, and now suddenly San Francisco Shock gets some extra time on the clock by taking B, and 3 minutes is a lot for point C. It is quite a bit, especially when Sinatra's getting an EMP, which could mean the Guangzhou Charge never have a chance to use their ults here.
It was a nice stagger kill onto Hotba earlier, too, by the Shock to try to set up a farther push. Sinatra loses the duel to Eileen.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, Eileen's been playing this over a long time, Sinatra. You're good, but you got to be careful. Meanwhile, Shock, though, winning the overall fight here. for the moment. Happy using the tack visor, though, pinning down Viol2t, taking him out, and it looks like Guangzhou is going to be able to hold this for a bit longer. Maybe?
Ooh, they get
that payload's still moving.
Yeah, payload's still moving, and Sinatra's going to be back soon with the EMP.
Yeah, all right, Sound Barrier, they're going for it. Leaving the payload. There's the EMP from Sinatra, setting up the kill on Eileen. A little bit of revenge from the Shock. Meanwhile, the payload moves. Charge trapped in their spawn. They need to break out and stop this payload. Otherwise, it's going to be a massive time for Shock. And they do what they can. Rio gets out just in time. Sound Barrier now into charge there for a little bit. Oh, no, it's just a little bit of extra shields. Never mind that. Rio on the Hammond. Immortality Field finally taken down, and Shock getting a couple of crucial kills here. Shu taken out early. It's going to be Choyo Bin getting his mech back with that self-destruct. Hoppa, no heals really coming into him right now. It's just Happy and him trying to keep this point alive, and you're going to need more of the respawns coming in, but now the Shock can deal with them one at a time. And at the end of the day, that will be the conclusion of the attack. Shock getting it done with a pretty good amount of time in the time bank.
I feel like that little duel was sort of the charge in a nutshell. Are there players individually skilled? Yes.
Yeah.
Do they somehow not work together well all the time? Absolutely.
Yeah. Very true. Shock, a little bit of time in the time bank. Charge trying to equalize when we come back. Welcome back to Eichenwald. San Francisco Shock gets 2 points on their attack, or 3 rather, on their attack. A minute 31 left for them in the time bank. Guangzhou Charge, meanwhile, it's their turn to go on the assault. And we'll see what they can get done.
Well, we're going to talk about Sinatra's deaths again, because it might be the most interesting thing that's happening so far in this match, unfortunately. It's still pretty interesting, though. So he died 2 times on that attack round, which means he's at 3 in the match. Now, so far this season, Animo is currently holding the record for fewest deaths in a match at 3, and he has done it twice so far in the 2019 season.
It's pretty incredible.
So Sinatra can't die anymore if he wants to tie in the next map and a half.
It's going to be really
It's going to be
tough.
hard.
It's going to be really tough to go through an Eichenwald defense and the next map without dying. Yeah,
And a Junkertown, yeah.
I don't
It'll
know.
be tough.
I don't know about that, but either way, it's going to be a good stat for him, I'm sure. All right, Charge on the attack using that Farah now. Saw Eileen trying to go for the flanks on the Sombra. Happy swapping from the Widowmaker to the Soldier 76.
Yeah, Sinatra inside the tower right now, just playing defense onto the point right here. They are trying to bunker up, so playing the Reinhardt 3-3 again.
That was close for Moth. One more rocket would have done it. Either way, when you hit a Lucio like that, you can usually force out that E cooldown and maybe take advantage sometimes, but either way, Hotpa putting a lot of pressure onto the Shock right now, but the Charge really not approaching the point much either.
Oh, Sinatra slept there, right outside, does force super.
Looks like he's okay.
Choi Hyobin to go for him, but that opens up Viol2t because all the tanks are protecting Sinatra.
Yeah, the Lucio, or the Zenyatta rather, unprotected. Eileen finds one, and that's the kind of pick you're looking for. You don't have a lot of meat in this comp for the charge. You don't have a lot of big tanks to just stack on the point. You need to find these picks on the outside to win in the numbers game.
That's right. They're still unable to actually pressure the point, though. They need to get some more eliminations. Meanwhile, Shu is off on the flank. Choi Hyobin thinks he sees an opportunity.
Well, he uses the ult onto Rascal, gets the nano boost to stay alive, actually. Afara living through Barrage. We saw it. It happened. Rio got the kill onto Sinatra, too. And so that means Charge has a really great opportunity to finally take the point. Yep, there goes Choi Hyobin. Super fleeing for his life. The two supports, Moth and Violet, just trying to delay as long as they possibly can, but that should be point A. Moth actually got the kill on Char at the end. It's got to feel good, but it won't protect the point. I say, taken quick by Charge.
Yeah, Shu was an absolute monster there. So remember that the kill onto Violet was set up by Shu sleeping Sinatra and then forcing the tanks to protect a sleeping Zarya. So that meant that Eileen had an opportunity to take out Violet. Well, that point capture was actually enabled by Choi Hyobin thinking he could boost onto Shu and get an elimination. Yeah. But he got slept as well. So a couple very important sleep darts for Shu.
EMP leads into a couple kills for Guangzhou Charge, but Shock still stalling out that payload for now. Rio going in to try to clean things up a little bit more. Pretty good defense early on from Shock. Trading enough that payload hasn't moved a whole lot yet.
They need to get their healers back right now. That's why they have to use the sound barrier.
Yeah, why not? They've got a little bit of an edge in the fight. They got the kill in the Shu. Super looking for a chance to maybe try to jump up and swat the pharmacy out of the air, but nothing doing, and they'll have to kind of sit in the point for a bit longer.
The Shock are getting so smart about using their abilities. Right there, the Batiste and the Zenyatta weren't present in the composition. They were still walking back from spawn. So they realized they have an opening, though, to really aggressively force a 4 versus 6 with a sound barrier and push them off the payload. That's what they do.
Yeah, definitely. The meta's certainly shifted, where you can use those support ultimates in situations like that to just delay a little bit more rather than wait for the next big 3-3 fight. Hoppa gets a nano boost, looking for a chance to use a barrage, goes for it anyway, but Rascal drops the Matrix, and Hoppa not lasting too long after that one.
I mean, just the delays. You can see how difficult it is to push a payload or control an objective with a multi-DPS composition because all of these low HP heroes can't get on the cart with the sustain from these tanks. That EMP, though, will shut it down.
Yeah, Rio's been doing a great job of following up on these EMPs. Gets 3 in that fight. Gotta feel pretty good there, and he might just drop the minefield to prevent them from re-engaging. We'll see. Oh.
He's going to drop the minefield here in the choke point. Looks like he's getting ready for it.
That's right. Here we go.
Here it is.
And tries to get the knockup as well so people get stuck in it, but didn't quite make the connection he was looking for. Meanwhile, it does force a Transcendence out of Violet at least.
That's unavailable for Sinatra.
Happy, meanwhile, trying to find a better position up on the high ground here. Shock has pushed the charge back away from the point with a couple kills here. Now the tac visor comes from Happy. Gets one onto Violet, actually. Shock might not be ready for this. That's 2 kills. Nearly takes out Sinatra as well before Moth finally finishes him.
Graviton a little late there to pick up the solo grab onto the Sinatra. Sinatra waves goodbye anyway.
Yep. Oh, Sinatra. Sleepy Sinatra. Rascal's got the shield there. Okay, all right.
Rascal's here to protect him from nothing, it turns out. Guangzhou Charge deciding not to get aggressive. Now Guangzhou will make the swap over to the Zarya. Going to hold on to Eileen, though, with this Sombra, his signature hero so far in this Overwatch League, and make sure that the EMP is going to be of good use here shortly.
Yeah. The point B is really interesting on this map. So you can see a lot of unique compositions. You can play the Pharah for a while, but Charge decided to just kind of stick on the payload. There's the EMP from Eileen. 4 hacks onto Shock, and that's going to pave the way for Rio to just walk forward swinging. Super nearly pinned with that charge. Oh, nearly pins Hotpa in return with the charge. Hotpa, though, just finishes him off. Shock just trying to get as much as they can do before they have to reset.
Yeah, they still have one more attempt at a defense here, and we're down to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Take a look at Eileen. We coming around
here.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, and immediately the hack onto Lucio.
Onto one more that he couldn't hit with a line of sight.
Yeah, that's right. Eileen, definitely one of the best Sombras we've got out there.
Rio's nano boosted.
That's right. Trying to find something with it. Meanwhile, Shock trying to last on the payload as long as they can. Oh, Choibin got demacked after getting hacked. That's a problem. Now the grab from Charge. Can they complete the fight? Super tries to go in, but that leaves him open for a shatter from Rio.
Super got a shatter interrupted, actually, by a stun there as well.
Yes, so. Shock having real trouble stopping the Charge. It's going to be nearly overtime, but another minute 30 for the Charge at the last moment. But they're definitely going to have a smaller time bank than the Shock do now, and it's really hard to push through C with that little time in the clock.
Look at this. Rio shoving a couple off. Nice charge there.
Yep.
Meantime, he isn't exposed to Super shatter from behind thanks to a stun on the Super. So everything looking good for the Charge here, but only a minute left now, and there's a Graviton. Sinatra going to clean this one up.
Whoa, all right. Well, that's about as one-sided as you can get. Only a minute left for Charge. And with that team kill, San Francisco Shock have put themselves in a position to try to hold on here and win the map and the series.
This is looking grim for the Charge right now. They have to come back. Maybe they can push through one attack with an EMP, but they're going to have to win several fights in a row. And Viol2t.
Oh, finds Chara. And did he actually get knocked off? He did. Rascal boops Rio off the bridge. And that's going to be even worse now. Maybe one last desperate attack for Charge.
Eileen is still somewhere behind enemy lines right now, so he's still setting up this EMP. The rest of the Charge have to get across the bridge, though, first. There's Eileen.
The CMP needs to be massive for him to deliver Charge a win with it. Oh, he gets found out, has to translocate.
That's going to give him a chance to rally and charge onto the front line.
Yeah, that's really bad for Guangzhou. They're going to have to get in there anyway, though. Time to push forward. EMP comes in onto Shock, hits 4 people. Rio tries to go for the shatter. He does knock down Super and Sinatra. A lot of damage eliminated, but there's the grab coming in. Sound barrier for Shock to try to stay alive in the fight. All the ultimates being used here. Shock a little bit separated, but Charge having trouble pushing forward. They've done enough damage, though, to put pressure onto Shock. Maybe with this grab from Sinatra, they can turn around, but there's a sound barrier immediately from Lucio on the Charge side. They keep everybody up for now, but here comes Super with the shatter. Hot butt down. The Zarya out of the way. That might be what Shock needs, but it's going back and forth. It's a brawl now here in overtime. The payload still has a long way to move, even if the Guangzhou Charge do win the fight. Oh, but Shu getting taken out. Sinatra going support hunting now, and there's very little to stop him. That's going to be about it. Shock holds on. They will win Icon involved, and they will win this series 3-0. One map yet to play, but Shock locks it up.
And it's a rough time to be the Charge. In their last 4 matches, including this one, they are now 1-14 in map score. So the drought continues for Guangzhou.
Well, a chance to at least break the streak and get a map win on Junkertown when we come back, but it's got to be rough for the Charge. Not the first week in Stage 2 they were hoping for. We'll see if maybe they can salvage a bit of it when we come back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Burton and the San Francisco Shock are up 3-0 and have officially taken the series. But I had a chance to talk to Kib from the Guangzhou Charge at the half, and he told me the Charge are not giving up just yet. He has faith that the comps the teams have been working on will become more successful and their comms will be more stable, and he assured me the Charge are figuring things out for this meta. He said we will see them turned around by next week, as right now their scrims aren't quite translating to stage, but that's all about to change. I know I look forward to seeing them fully charged. Yep, I said it. Monty and Doa, back to you.
Thanks, Mika. You know, I wonder, with the color of the dress, if there's some bias there. The Guangzhou bias going on, interviewing Guangzhou.
Yeah, the Guangzou bias is pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
Could be said it's clear with...
I was going to say, I forgot what I was wearing. Right, hashtag no bias. But anyway, the thing is, you know, it's hard not to talk positively about the Charge despite how poorly they're doing here in Stage 2, because it's like we've been saying the entire time. We saw in Stage 1 that these guys have a lot of individual talent, but like you mentioned earlier, like we saw on these maps, it just hasn't been translating at all to in-game wins yet.
Well, I think what's really frustrating is even in that last overtime fight on Eichenwald, they looked a lot tighter. And I mean, the stats reflect that as well. They have the greatest difference of any team between regular team fight win rate and team fight win rates in overtime. So it really feels like sometimes they're not trusting themselves enough. They're second guessing in a lot of their communications. And when they don't have time to do that style of play, when they just have to put everything they've got into a team fight, they do a lot better. So yeah, that's a hard barrier, I think, to overcome, but it does give me hope for their future.
I think so. Well, Kib back in again for map number 4. It's going to be our escort map, going to be Junkertown, and we'll see if the Charge can come away at least with one map win in this series. Before this, though, as you can see, it has been all San Francisco Shock, and this team just continues to look dominant here in stage number 2.
They play so smart these days. It's, you know, they really are a joy to watch, up there with the likes of the NYXL. You look at those 3 losses and you think to yourself, oh, you know, a little bit over 50%, maybe not that good. 2 of them were to the Titans and the NYXL, though. They did have a tough schedule in stage 1, and they're another team that really could run the board here in stage 2, go for that 7-0.
I think they've got a shot, that's for sure. So we go to Junkertown. This is definitely one of those maps where you get to enjoy some different compositions than usual if you've been watching or if you've been looking for something a bit fresher or a bit of a callback to some old school compositions. This is definitely the map for you.
I mean, I do feel like it's a little bit of a shame we didn't have this last stage because
true enough.
This map, because of its very odd long sight lines throughout the map, would have been played this way last stage too. Like the Orisa would have been here. I'm not sure if this map, outside of new heroes being introduced, will ever be played in a truly different manner.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I don't mind it one bit. We do have the hardpoint defense from the Charge. Shock, meanwhile, going for what we call the pirate ship. You have the Orisa with the shield in front of Bastion, who's a cannon on the payload as it moves around. Shock trying to push down this little choke here. This is usually where the fights happen. On point A. Oh, no. Oh, Chara gets hooked, but he lives. That was so close. You know, once in a while, you just don't get all those bullet connections on that left click from Roadhog. And
Chara still goes down, though, and that's a really good halt to pull everybody in. But the Immortality Field going to help keep them up through the Dragon Strike.
That could have been like a 2 or 3K from that Dragon Strike if it weren't for the Immortality Field. That was very close. Rascal bailing his team out a little bit there and now trying to keep everybody healed up. Happy's in trouble. Ooh. It's knocked out. Nice shot from Rascal, man. If you are a good hit scan player like we know Rascal is, you can get a lot of damage done on that. Batiste, meanwhile, Sinatra taking names with this configuration tank on the Bastion, and that should be about it for point A.
Yep, they will be able just to push through with the result of that team kill. Probably just going to stick on this composition. This is one of those times where you do have the option of going ahead and taking high ground position as the attacking team. Due to the spawns, looks like they're not going to move forward too far. Whole Hog available to Violet on this attack as Guangzhou pushes up here. No changes yet. Sinatra back onto the payload.
I wonder how long they'll stick with this. I feel like we've been seeing teams stick with this longer. Oh, the halt brings everybody from Charge down. Right where Shock wants him, right in front of the amplification matrix, which Violet is shooting through with the Whole Hog. Sinatra, the first one to find a kill, though, as Charge is scattered. Another configuration tank. He got that so fast.
Called the Whole Hog, but with the amp matrix, the wholer hog. Like,
that's right.
Even more hog.
It's you call that the whole herd in that case. Let's check that out again. Well, There we go. Finally got the pick that he was looking for on Chara earlier.
Staring at Kib while taking a breather.
Crouch your way out of that one.
All right. Well, high ground, typical high ground placement at the curve of the U here of the points.
Yep.
Gonna be trying rushed right now. Sinatra still relatively safe though.
Oh. Self-destructs in tandem. Well, all right, but nobody really worrying about things on the shock side. Got that amp matrix. Oh, hi, Happy. a tasteful crouch.
That was a very deliberate tactical crouch.
Exactly, yeah. We can see another one here. Oh, maybe. There we go. And, oh, yes. There we go. Yep. Gotta, you never know where that Widowmaker is. You know, you gotta crouch to avoid those headshots, you know? It's a strategic genius from Sinatra right there. So forward thinking.
One of our most notable tactical crouch users.
Cerebral tactical crouching. Yeah. Oh, welcome to the Thunderdome. Sinatra with another configuration tank, not giving it up yet as Charge tries to get aggressive on the payload. Shock backs away. Sinatra not quite finding any kills yet, but doing some damage.
Payload keeps moving though, and now he's taking a turn here on the windmill.
Actually pulls out the Transcendence by targeting Shu with that one. Ooh! Immortality Field keeps Sinatra alive again. Rascal has been perfect with those this series so far. Son of Violet, he's in a little bit of trouble. Takes a breather, pops a whole hog. Rio down, and Charge in a little bit of trouble again.
Yeah, they're just going to get chased off right now.
Oh,
Chara be a late... trying to reload.
There
we go.
It's so annoying when you hook somebody and you left-click them, they've got like a sliver of health left. As a Roadhog player myself a lot, I hate that. But some of those guys are so tiny, you know? Mercy, Lucio, it's hard to land everything. Here we go. The payload nearly there for Shock. Sheobin pops to self-destruct and Sinatra up on the high ground. Nobody's doing anything about this guy, just firing through the amplification matrix.
Okay.
That is not a matrix you want to enter if you're the Charge.
Well, 3 deaths on the Shock in that entire attack.
Yep.
Moth, Pilot, Choi Hyobin all falling once. Otherwise, it's a pretty conclusive run. Sinatra, 17 limbs, 12 final blows. Casually, no deaths again.
Did you see me dodge those possible Widowmaker shots?
That was the most tasteful.
Yeah.
If that is a word that could be used with tactical crouching, the most tasteful tactical crouching I have seen.
It was a gentlemanly tactical crouch. It's refined, you know? Done in the best of taste. Just a polite, how do you do, if you will.
That's fantastic. I enjoyed that.
That's the tactical crouch they teach you at Charm School.
Just walk up very slowly.
That's right. Make your intentions known.
Make your intentions known. Yeah. Look first for a while.
Spray the logo of the game.
Spray the logo.
That's right. then crouch. There you go. Now you know.
But only once. Twice maximum. 3 times in Porte.
3 is too much. Yes. You don't want to seem childish when you're doing something like the tactical crouch. That's right. It takes a certain amount of maturity on the part
to stop yourself at 2.
Ah, yes. You have to be restrained. If we know Sinatra for anything, it's restrained, measured, play style, and personality. Well, time for San Francisco Shock to go on the defense. Guangzhou Charge with an attack here. But man, even if they complete it, that's a big time bank for the Shock to overcome. So things aren't getting any easier for the Charge. Are going to come out. Same composition. Happy, though.
Up on the bay.
Hanzo.
They might just try to wall somebody off and blow them up with the Bastion. Nope, gonna swap off. Sometimes you do see a Mei just right out of the gates on attack. Chara going to teleport everybody over. They will be playing the Junkrat as well, so they're gonna just try and get behind right now. Everybody goes over.
There we go, putting Happy on the high ground on that Bastion. I like it. Got the Immortality Field right up there. Oh, but they can't keep Rio alive.
Super's up there now.
Yeah.
How do you get up there?
I don't know how he got up there. That was pretty impressive. He just goes anywhere he wants, man. He's super. Possibly got bumped up there. I actually didn't see. Happy down.
He might have been Junkrat mind up
I
there.
think Kib brought him up there, yeah. There we go. So Shock getting the kills in the end. That's the worst. When when your own Junkrat puts their Reinhardt in your face. I've been pinned out of the air as Mercy because my Junkrat knocked their Reinhardt in the air.
As a Reinhardt player, I approve, Noah. I approve.
No. Junkrat is a double-edged sword for your team sometimes. Charge still stuck on the high ground. Somewhere Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, come on, guys, you got this. You got the high ground.
Should be easy for you.
It doesn't always work, Obi-Wan. Come on. All right, back.
I mean, the problem with this is that they teleport over to this shack,
Yeah.
but they can't move the cart, and the San Francisco Shock could just hide in the Shock Shack there.
Yeah, well, the Shock Shack is a little place where you can't push the payload. All right. Trying to find a way to just approach the payload for now. Happy firing through the amplification matrix, but there's nobody to shoot at. Shock just waiting it out.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a flank on the cart, so how do you get to the cart if you are the charge? This is the fundamental question.
Yes. How do you approach the cart?
Very slowly. Okay, this might be how you do it.
All right.
Kib,
Tire in spawn.
he wants to send
What
the
is
tire into the Shock Shack.
coming out? Whoop. Faked you out. All right, that was the saddest strip tire I've ever seen. I'm just going to say it. That was the saddest strip tire I've ever seen. Sorry. Sorry, Kib.
Okay, Violet was on the other flank, so they do manage to eliminate him. Still 5 members of Shock, though. All right, now
There we go. Okay,
they
kills.
might have finally gotten it moving.
Yes. I get it now. I understand that the rip tire was used that way to give the Shock a false sense of security so that they would push out and die.
Sinatra, his first death of the map will be just to delay the payload. They're going to have plenty of time to respawn before the end, though,
Yeah.
and they're going to have 6 ults. So Shock's still looking good. That was actually a very smart delay because basically, by the time this next fight happens, we're going to be in 1 to 2 fight territory, and the Shock have plenty of ults to deal with that.
Yeah, we might even see a point A hold here, which we don't see very often at all in Junkertown. It'd be something. Sinatra coming in, he's got the grab ready to go. Happy just trying to find some more victims with the Bastion. Anyone get shattered there? A couple. Happy though, really low immortality field, keeping him alive.
Gone now.
Super trying to push in. And it looks like even though he'll die, they'll get the kills. Rascal taken out by the tire. Kib gets one there. But
It is a 3 versus 3 right now, and it's just Sinatra and 2 supports. So Sinatra has to provide the overwhelming majority of the damage. Super going to make it back soon.
he's not charged at all though, so he's not doing much damage on the Zarya. Super back.
Ooh.
Oh, we got Chara. What a pick for Violet. That is pretty devastating.
They're going to have to switch off right now. Happy with a desperation Zarya now with 15 seconds remaining, and they had to wait for their Mercy to respawn. Brutal.
Yeah. There we go. 10 seconds left for the charge to try to make anything happen on this map. Shock, though, no ultimate is available. Hotba, maybe he can get a pick with this one. No, not quite. Nothing out of the self-destruct that got Sinatra low. Hotba does take out Rascal's immortality field early. They've got Violet pinned down. They were able to find him on the flank. So Guangzhou Charge can fight the 6v5 now. Not a lot of healing left for the Shock. Okay, Amp Matrix used by San Francisco. They got to get people behind it, though, to use it.
Yeah, we're not really close to a grab for the Shock either, so it
Not really.
looks like Guangzhou should be able to finish this point.
Yeah. All right, immortality field down again. It's been sustaining Shock pretty well, actually. Keeping them in this one. Overtime. Definitely going to drop fast if a charge gets pushed off of it. Moth down, but Kib taken out as well. There's the grab. Sinatra finally got it. Hop and D-Back. There goes Happy as well. And I can't believe it. Shock able to sustain long enough to get a couple ultimates and end it. 4-0 for San Francisco Shock. Absolute domination.
Yeah, really good look for the San Francisco Shock as they continue their quest to be the best team in this league. 6-3, their total on the season. 2-0 so far in Stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, after that Stage 1 playoffs, after the finals went for Shock, you got to expect them to do well in Stage 2, and that's a 2-0 right off the bat. Pretty insane team to watch right now.
Yep, really fun. Continue just to roll through. Most of the teams in this league only caught up by a couple.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, on the charge thing, again, I'll say it again because it is worth repeating. There's so much individual talent on this team. We saw a lot of it on display last stage. I think with some adjustment, the Charge can come back and do okay, but
it's really just
it's tough right now.
It's converting around the individual plays that they make. I think the biggest problem with the Charge is not for a lack of individual playmaking ability. It's that the rest of the team doesn't recognize when a big play is happening and how to snowball that advantage fast enough.
Well said. Well, let's send it down to Danny, who is standing by for post-match interview.
Thanks, guys. I am here joined by Rascal from San Francisco Shock. Shock fans, are you guys here? Make some noise. Congratulations. Now, we all know that you are a DPS main, but we've been seeing you play a lot of support characters, support heroes like Brig, and with the release of the new hero, Baptiste. I want to ask you, how does it sort of feel to sort of be able to go back to your roots and play a hero like Baptiste, who is a hit scan, support, and a damage dealing hero? 자, 바티스트에 대해서 좀 여쭤보고 싶어요. 아무래도 딜러 메인이시긴 하지만 요즘에 좀 브리기테 또 바티스트 이런 힐러 진대 좀 많이 쓰셨는데 그래도 바티스트 같은 경우에는 히트 스캔이잖아요. 어떠신가요? 좀 오랜만에 좀 그런 좀 딜러 비슷한 영웅을 쓰게 돼서.
일단 기본적으로 베이스가 서폿에 있고 그래서 아무래도 브리기테에서 옮겨가는 데는 큰 문제는 없었던 것 같은데 아무래도 좌클릭이 또 히트 스캔이다 보니까 쏘는 재미도 있고 여러 가지로 재미를 다 가진 캐릭터인 것 같아요.
Basically, I feel like Baptiste is a very, very fun hero to play. Transitioning into Baptiste from Brig wasn't that hard, difficult, because, I mean, both of them are support characters, but the Baptiste left click is a hit scan, so I could deal damage and heal at the same time, so it's a very, very fun and great hero. All right, next match, you guys have a rematch with the same team, Guangzhou Charge. Is there something that you learned today that you could probably implement or use in order to defeat the Guangzhou Charge one more time next week? 다음 주 리매치 광주 차지 어떻게 이기실 겁니까?
크게 별 다르게 준비해야 될 건 없을 것 같고요. 뭐 이번이랑 그렇게 다르지 않을 거라고 생각을 해서 뭐 손브라 정도만 조금 더 준비해서 하면은 충분히 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각해요.
I don't think there's going to be a huge difference in how we practice or prepare for a rematch, but I feel like if we could just use our Sombra a little bit more, then I feel like we could win it. All right, thank you, Rascal. That's it for me. Back to you guys, casters.
Thank you, Danny. And yeah, fun to see Rascal playing a new hit scan hero. He's always one of the ones, like we talked about, that adapts so quickly, learns a new hero so well, and putting it on display today.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially Rascal, who has always been a top-tier player, having been bounced around from London to Dallas, now to San Francisco, finally earning his starting spot in a roster and really performing well on the Shock is good to see.
Right, so it's time to crown our player of the match. So many talented players on Shock to choose from, but today it's going to be the one, the only Super on the main tank. He will be our HP player of the match.
And well-deserved, have some really good shatters over the course of these maps, playing around the point and the objectives very well, making sure Sinatra is taken care of and protected in a lot of these points. You see some good Primal Rage use as well, sneaky shatter, of course, on Anubis that he managed to get to help save the point. So a lot to like about Super. We called him Super Bad earlier in this season.
Hey, I didn't call him Super Bad.
A little bit unfairly. I think he's gone from Super Bad to Super Chad now, if you will. As you look at some of his stats for this match, definitely showing up on the Reinhardt, and I think pretty much unquestionably a top 3 main tank in this league.
Absolutely making his opponent super sad, that's for sure. So our Omen by HP player of the match, Super. It's going to be fun to watch going forward here. And so don't go anywhere, guys. Our next match coming up, it's going to be the Atlanta Reign versus a London Spitfire. That might be a close one, so I'm looking forward to see what happens there.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting. We'll see if London has cleaned up some of their mistakes that we saw them against the Florida Mayhem earlier this week.
We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League returning with another match right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.